So today, we're going to unpack one of the most painful and honestly misunderstood topics in relationships: infidelity. We're going to be drawing from the incredible work of therapist Esther Perel to explore what affairs are really about. And trust me, the meaning goes so much deeper than just sex and betrayal.
Just listen to this quote for a second. It's from a woman named Jude, and it cuts right to the heart of the whole issue. She and her partner were in an open relationship, right? They had rules. But she still felt that deep sting of betrayal. What this tells us right off the bat is that infidelity isn't just about breaking the rules of monogamy. It's about deception. It's about secrecy. It's about a fundamental breach of trust, even when the rules seem totally flexible.
So, that brings us to the big question, doesn't it? If it's not always about sex, and it's clearly not just about breaking rules, then what is the real meaning of an affair? What are the deeper needs, the deeper longings that they reveal? Well, that's exactly what we're here to find out.
Okay, so to really get infidelity today, you have to understand something huge. Its meaning has completely changed over time. I mean, what counted as a major marital crisis for our grandparents is just a world away from what it is for us now.
This slide is amazing because it shows you just how much has changed. Think about it. Back in 1964, for Maria's generation, a woman was often economically dependent. So, an affair, it was a secret you buried. Silence was survival. Fast forward to 1984. Her daughter, Sylvia, has financial independence. She has a new option: leave. But now for Sylvia's son, Zach, today, it's a whole different ballgame. Infidelity isn't just a breach of fidelity, it's a crisis of authenticity. We live in an age where we expect our one partner to be our everything: our best friend, our trusted confidant, and our passionate lover. The stakes have never, ever been higher.
And, that massive shift in what we expect, well, that's a huge reason why the betrayal of an affair hurts so profoundly today. The pain goes way deeper than just jealousy or hurt feelings. It actually strikes at the very core of who we believe we are.
Wow. This quote from Simone de Beauvoir just perfectly nails that catastrophic feeling. It's not just that the relationship is broken, it feels like your entire reality, the very ground you're standing on, has just vanished. It's a full-blown existential crisis.
And this right here, this is the heart of Perel's argument. The absolute deepest wound of an affair is the shattering of our personal story. It literally steals your past. Every memory you shared, every anniversary, every single "I love you," it's all suddenly thrown into question. You're forced to ask yourself, was any of it even real?
This is such a brilliant way to picture the mental torment. The person who's been betrayed is forced to watch two different movies of their life playing at the exact same time. On one screen, you've got the life you thought you had, the cherished memories, the story that made sense. But on the other screen is this new, secret reality that basically cancels out everything on the first screen. It's a feeling of profound, gut-wrenching disorientation.
Okay, so if people who are in genuinely happy relationships can still have affairs, it leads to a really big question: why? It turns out the reasons are often way more complex than just "I wasn't happy." Let's explore what's really going on under the surface.
So often, an affair isn't really about turning away from our partner. It's more about turning toward a new version of ourselves. It can be this search for lost parts of who we are. The person we were before we became the responsible parent or the dutiful spouse. It's this deep longing for novelty, for freedom, for a part of ourselves we feel like we've lost along the way.
This quote from Max, who is a devoted father, man, it just powerfully captures that intense internal conflict. It's not about wanting to be a bad person. So often it's a desperate attempt to just feel alive again, to feel seen, to feel that sense of vitality that has gone quiet. It's this brutal collision of guilt and feeling intensely alive.
So after the discovery, a couple is standing at a huge crossroads. That dagger of betrayal? It can be turned inward into self-blame, or it can be turned outward in revenge. But there is a third path, a creative journey toward healing, and really reclaiming one's own power.
Let's look at one of the most fascinating stories of what Perel calls restorative justice. It involves a French woman named Camille, whose husband, Amadou, came from a very different culture, one that was much more superstitious.
So instead of following the typical Western script of rage and divorce, Camille did something absolutely brilliant. She entered his world. She knew that in his culture, polygamy was common, but superstition was incredibly powerful. So she performed these rituals, sacrificing a lamb, creating this spicy insurance policy, hiding a bottle of blood. She spoke to him in a language he would truly understand. And in doing so, she completely flipped the power dynamic. She went from being the victim to being the one in control.
And in the end, Camille realized her real power wasn't in punishing him, but in elevating herself. By choosing to be happy, to be vibrant, to be confident, she showed him that her well-being was never dependent on his actions. And that was the most powerful statement she could possibly make.
This brings us to our final point, and honestly, it might be the most provocative one. If affairs are so often fueled by this intense longing, desire, and a search for aliveness, what can that teach us about how we nurture those same qualities inside our committed relationships?
This is the core challenge that Perel leaves us with. I mean, think about the energy, the attention, the sheer imagination people pour into an affair. They're sending secret texts, planning clandestine meetings. They're 100% present with their lover. We so rarely bring that same level of intention and desire to our long-term partner.
And so we end with this question. What if we actually directed that same curiosity, that same focus, that same erotic energy toward the person we've chosen to build a life with? By understanding what really fuels an affair, we might just discover the keys to reigniting the passion and connection within our own relationships. It's a powerful thought to end on, isn't it?